everyone, it's Jenna and welcome to my channel Divine Direction. In this video we are doing a pick a card reading to find out what we may benefit from releasing this full moon. If you've never done a full moon release before, I highly recommend it as I've been benefiting from it for quite a while now and it has really helped me along my journey. So just take a couple minutes and decide on what card deck you would like to pick, either 1, 2, 3, or 4, and find the corresponding timestamps down below. Okay, pile number 1. So you are being encouraged this full moon to release old relationships or old versions of relationships. And I'll explain in this reading the difference between the two. So there's about 2 or 3 messages I'm receiving in this spread. So if the first one doesn't resonate with you, the second one might. So the first thing I'm going to say is congratulations to whomever this is going to resonate for, because it looks like you have really been working on yourself and there's been some really good growth in your life, on your journey. I'm seeing you very focused on whatever journey it is that you're on. You are either like really focused on your work or creating. I kind of feel that maybe you've been on a spiritual journey and you just feel more confident. There's been some sort of growth in your life, okay? And this growth has really started to illuminate, or it will start to illuminate, the relationships in your life. So the first message I'm receiving in regards to this is that unfortunately when we start to grow and change in our lives in a positive manner, some people in our life may not be so happy about this change. So releasing old relationships that no longer serve us is going to be important for you for this full moon. And you will know if you need to release an old relationship because it won't feel right. So I'll give you an example from my life. So as I've mentioned in a couple of my videos, I used to have really bad depression. I couldn't get out of bed for a long time, for many years, and I had this friend who was around through that whole time. They knew I was depressed. They never really asked me too much about myself, like how I was doing or anything. We always seemed to talk about them. And then once I started to get better and I started to work out and eat healthy and I started to feel more confident in myself, this person came to me and they're like, "I'm really worried about you." And I was like, "You're really worried about me? You weren't worried about me when I was depressed, but you're worried about me now that I'm venturing out in the world and getting better." So that's the type of relationship that no longer serves you. Once you start to grow, if somebody's trying to keep you small by saying comments to you that are negative, you will know that's a friendship that is no longer, you're no longer in need of. So that's one message that I'm receiving from this. Now, the second message that I'm receiving is because you've been so hyper-focused on this growth, which is amazing, you may be neglecting some relationships in your life. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just you've been so focused on this whatever amazing thing that you've been doing, that there's still people in your life that love you and want to be part of your life still. So I'm kind of seeing imagery of people completely changing and coming back to their family and friends, and their family and friends being like completely unimpressed, like, where the heck have you been for this whole time? People who love you want to be part of your journey. They want to know what you're up to. So this is the aspect that I was talking about releasing old versions of our relationships. So you may have a friend in your life and you've been friends since elementary school or for a very long time. And what you guys were maybe have bonded over in your childhood, things that you enjoyed doing back then, maybe you don't enjoy doing them now. And you still love your friend, but you're not sure how to incorporate your new interests or your new life and them together. So releasing old versions of this relationship could include maybe, say you decided to take up a hobby of painting and you started taking art classes, maybe inviting them to go with you to an art class, or even if you don't think that they would have any interest in some of the hobbies, maybe just taking some time to go for coffee with them or grab dinner and to talk about your lives. If somebody loves you, they want to be able to know what you're up to. And so maybe striking a balance between your relationships and this new life that you're obtaining, whether it's focusing on work or what have you, okay? So think about your relationships with these people. How can you incorporate them into this new version of your life? That's going to look different for all of you, but I'm really seeing that even just talking to them about it and keeping more contact with them, you could text them throughout the week. Make sure that you're still in contact with them. It's kind of difficult with COVID, and some people are under lockdowns. There's lots of restrictions, but maybe you can do a video chat. I just did a video chat with my best friend. I haven't seen her in person in over a year or more. But to be able to see her face and have a conversation with her was so nice. So maybe you can do that. Have little bits during the week where you can keep in touch with them. You catch up with them. So how was your week? How was your job interview? That sort of thing. Make sure that you're still keeping in contact with them, all right? They want to celebrate your successes and they want to be part of your life. And if you are too focused on what you're doing, you're going to miss out on their life too. So maybe they get married. Maybe they're having a child. Don't you want to be a part of that? So it goes both ways. So figuring out how to incorporate and this new version of your relationship, what do you want it to look like? And if you're not sure how to do this, just ask your angels and guides and say, hey guys, I really love my friend. I really love this family member, but I just don't know how to relate to them anymore. I've changed so much. We're completely different people now, or at least it feels like that. So can you show me how we can reconnect? And you might be surprised at maybe they would have some interest in what you're doing, okay? And even if it doesn't thrill them for something that they would want to do, maybe they'll still talk to you about it, okay? So that's that message. And then another one I'm receiving in regards to this is some of you may have actually found friends who have this similar interest in you. So again, with the painting example, maybe you found artist friends. Okay. I am seeing some steampunk in here. So maybe you're into steampunk and your friends are like, I don't understand this at all. Or maybe you think that they don't understand it at all, but you found other people who are into it and you want to spend more time with them. And that's completely okay and understanding, but don't forget about your other friends who have been there for so long, or your family who has always been there for you. All right. So that's what I'm receiving for you, pile number 1. So just do an evaluation of your relationships, and if there are some that are no longer serving you, then definitely release them this full moon, and ask your angels and guides how to release the old versions of your other relationships, the ones that you want to keep in your life. Okay, I hope you are all doing well, and hopefully I'll see you next video. Bye, everyone. Okay, pile number 2. So for this full moon, I'm receiving a couple of messages for you. So the first thing that I'm receiving is that you're being encouraged to release the expectations of others. So the expectations of your family members, releasing expectations of your peers, and definitely releasing expectations of society. And the expectations of yourself that you hold of you that aren't really you, if that makes sense. So first of all, there's a few different scenarios that I'm coming across here. But the first one I'm really seeing is this is coming from home. So it could be your parents, and the expectations that they may have of you. So the first thing that I'm kind of seeing is that maybe you have always been taught that you are going to be the one to take over the family business. Or say your dad was a police officer, or your mom's a police officer, and their parent was a police officer, and so on and so forth. And you're just kind of expected to be that. Or maybe you're expected to be a doctor. It doesn't necessarily have to be a career, but I am seeing that, especially the family business, in this spread. But I'm also seeing this could be in relation to religion. So maybe you are expected to continue on, especially as you maybe get married or have your own family. Maybe you're expected to continually go to church every Sunday, or partake in these celebrations. And maybe whatever religion this is, it just doesn't resonate with you anymore. Maybe it never has, but you're expected to continue to follow this religion and follow that path. Okay, I see for some of you too that the lifestyle that you want to live, it's different. It's very different than the lifestyle that you're living now. And I did this. But you're longing. There is longing here for a new way of life, whatever it is. And if this doesn't have to do with your family, it could just be that society has made you feel that this is you, and you are only capable of amounting to this. So whether it's your parents, whatever career that they have, you feel like that's your limitation. Maybe your family has always been poor, and you just feel that I'm always going to be poor. I'm always going to be working in this sort of job. It could be a variety of different things, but I just feel that society has put a label on you, and you're just expected to be that person and play that part. But we don't want to play that part anymore. We're done with that. There's that longing there for something different. You want to reach for the stars, or I do see maybe a move as well. Someone is longing to move. So this could just be that your family maybe expects you to live in the same area. that everyone else is in, that all of your family is in, or your friends. But I'm seeing someone is longing to move to the beach, maybe to California, or just somewhere close to the ocean. I'm also seeing that someone is wanting to move out in the country. So maybe have a farm, and I am seeing someone wants to move to the mountains. So to spots where maybe you can find some more peace and maybe be more yourself. Okay, so really releasing these expectations that people have set of us and moving forward towards our dreams. So I do see you in this imagery. I see you embracing the life that you want to live, and I see you being very happy with it. So this is really important to remember, because the next message that I'm receiving with this group, and I feel that this is all tied together, but if no one's resonating with the first part, you might resonate with the next. And that's, the next part is about what you're focusing on. So releasing negativity. So somewhere you are being negative, and I mean, don't we all have parts of this in our life? But you're focusing on the lack. That's what I'm feeling. So it could be in regards to this, like maybe with the longing for the new lifestyle, this change in lifestyle. But you're so unhappy with where you are, and you're feeling the lack of where you want to be. This is saying that you need to start focusing on the positive, because if you keep focusing on the negative, that's just going to grow. And if you're focusing on a lack of what you want, you're just going to attract more lack of the things that you want. So what they're saying is it's time to be more positive. I'm seeing a glass of lemonade and lemons. So when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So one of the books that I'm reading right now is called The Magic, and I recommend it to anyone. It's about giving gratitude, and it has the 28-day practice for being more grateful for the things in our lives. And one of the activities that we did was giving gratitude for maybe situations that we're not the most grateful for right now. So in this case, it could be your job if you're really unhappy with that. So are there any aspects of your job right now, even though you're unhappy with it, are there any aspects that you enjoy? So it could be something even as small as, well, it's close to home. Or maybe you enjoy the taste of the coffee that's in the break room. Maybe you have friends at work that you like to talk to, or maybe you have one person that you like to talk to. Think of these things that you enjoy about your work and start being more positive about it. It doesn't mean that you have to stay there at all, but when you're more positive about it, things can start to shift for you. And this will actually help you start shifting into a more positive mindset that can help bring about this new lifestyle that you want to live, whatever it is, whether it's a different career choice, a new place that you want to live. They're saying to focus on the positive, but also focus on where you want to go, and focus. So when you're focusing your attention on where you want to go as well, focus on it as if it's already in existence for you. It's already like, okay, this is the lifestyle I'm living, and really make sure that you're visualizing it and that you know that it's possible. So we're going to release the negativity about where we are currently in our life, and release the lack that lack thinking that we don't have what we want. Okay? So, and as I said, I do see you living the life that you want. I see you feeling free and happy, and we just need to release the expectations of others and release the negative thoughts of lack and move forward. So I would really, really encourage you to read The Magic if you're able to, and I'll put the information down below if you want to read this book. It's really changed my perspective on my life. It's made me more grateful for things that I have in my life, but it's also helping me to be more positive about things. So work on that. If negative thoughts come up, say you think, oh, you know, this lifestyle that I want to live, or this dream that I have, it's never going to come to fruition. No, cancel, clear, delete that thought and change it to something positive. I love living by the sea. I love being an artist. I love being a farmer. Like, whatever it is that you want to be or do, that is what you need to focus on with positivity, and focus that positive feeling on it. You need to have positive feelings towards it to bring it into fruition, okay? So that's what I'm receiving for pile number 2. I hope that helps. And again, I really, really encourage you to read the book, The Magic, okay? Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye. Okay, pile number 3. So I am receiving several messages for this pile, so just bear with me, because with a general reading, obviously not all of these are going to resonate with you. So the first message that I'm receiving is this full moon, someone is really going to benefit from releasing an ex relationship, an ex partner. So this person, I feel that their energy still lingers there. There's something about them that's still there. So whether it's just releasing an aspect of them that's still in your heart or in your mind and your thoughts, but I'm also feeling that for some of you, releasing physical objects of theirs. So I don't usually talk about that for full moons, but I'm seeing that maybe at your house, there's some possessions of theirs that are still there that need to be either given back to them, or if you're not really in much communication with them and it's maybe something that's not as important that they would want back, giving it away or donating it. Maybe you guys purchased something together, or they have bought you a gift. And again, either donating it, selling it, or if you still enjoy it, maybe just saging it to help get their energy out of your house. For some of you, it could be maybe just sprucing up your house and painting or changing something if you shared that space together, just so it doesn't remind you of them anymore, getting their energy out of the house. But definitely releasing this relationship, whatever aspect of it that's still there, that's still lingering for you. And just so that you can start to move on from this. Okay, the next message that I'm receiving is for a relationship, but a relationship that you haven't begun yet, I guess you could say, in this life at least. And so I see that some of you are longing for your soulmate. There are 2 soulmate cards here. And here's the thing with this, okay? I don't want you to release your soulmate, but they're saying that the way that you're picturing your soulmate, or not necessarily just physical features, but also the characteristics of them, how you're envisioning them may not be the way that they actually are. And here's the thing with that. The universe, our angels, our guides, God, whomever you believe in, our spiritual team, they know way better than we do who's better suited for us. Okay, so when you are so focused on maybe a certain image of someone, maybe you're focused on a certain person who you think is your soulmate, or focused on the specific characteristics or maybe things that they have. Maybe you're focused on someone having a certain job or a certain kind of car or maybe a big house, that sort of thing. When you're too focused on that, you're actually preventing them from coming into your life, because the person that you are envisioning is not the person that you would have the best, most deepest love relationship with, if that makes sense. So I would strongly encourage you that if you have an image in your head of this person and certain characteristics, if you're using that and praying for this person, at the end, always say, or something better, because that makes the space that allows this person to come in. I'm seeing this person wants to come into your life and they're like, what the heck? You're blocking me from being able to come in because you're so focused on someone else. Okay? So if you want your soulmate to come into your life, say, or someone better. Okay? And that's really, really important to be able to bring them in. Now, another thing with this soulmate that we're wanting to come in, some of you need to release the timeline, okay? So I'm seeing imagery of snails, and this is telling me that this is happening a lot slower than you're thinking. And that's because if you are focusing on a certain person or a certain characteristics, you are blocking this person from being able to come in. That's what I'm receiving. So you're being encouraged to release the timeline, the expectation of when this person should come in. And I'll give you an example with my life. Like I want my partner to come in. I've been wanting him to come into my life for a million years, it feels like. And I was so focused on different ways that I envisioned him to be. And the thing is, though, as I started to grow and go through this and work on myself and my journey and everything, my priorities became so clear. The person that I wanted back then is not the person that I'd be happy with now. And I was so focused on the when that I was missing out on my life. And so don't miss out on your life because you're focused on when is this person coming. This person is coming when the perfect timing is, and you will not know that. This person will just show up in your life. So release that and let this person just show up. And that could happen in a couple of weeks. It could happen in 3 weeks. It could happen in 3 months. It all depends on you. So release that expectation of the timeline. All right. I am seeing that they want to come in your life. I'm seeing that here, but you just need to release that expectation of who they are or what they look like. All right. Okay. So the next message that I'm receiving for pile number 3 is we need to release our false facade. And when I say that, that's the us that's kind of the mask we wear, or the us that we project to the world that isn't really us. So it's time for you to release the old version of yourself so you can let the real, authentic you shine. And whether that's picking up a passion that you've been longing for a while, whether that's you speaking up about who you are and what you believe in, it's time for you to choose which you want to be. So releasing the part of you that no longer serves you to make space for this real you, your deepest self to grow. So that's just a really quick message there. But if this part is really resonating with you, maybe check out my weekly soul self-care videos, because the last 4 weeks have been all about this. And so that's probably why they don't want me talking about it too much in this spread. So just check that out, and I talk a little bit more about how to do this and what you can do with that, okay? And the last message that I'm receiving for group number 3 is, unfortunately, there appears to have been a death in your life. And I'm seeing maybe a grandparent, someone older, not necessarily for all of you, but there is a situation here that I'm going to speak about. And this is obviously going to be different for everyone, but I am seeing that there's a death that has occurred, some grief that needs to be released because of this death. And you'll obviously know who I'm speaking about. But there's another part of this, so that is more specific. So I'll get into that. I feel that this death has unfortunately happened within most likely the last year, or definitely within the last year. And I feel that you weren't able to be around this person while they were going through this and passing away because of COVID-19 restrictions. So I don't know if they passed away because of COVID-19, or it's just the restrictions that prevented you from being able to be with them, whether you couldn't go on a flight, or I am seeing some individuals were in a nursing home. So not being able to go in and see them, or in some cases, maybe just they were in the hospital and the number of people that could visit them, if any, were limited. So I feel that there's a lot of anger there, which is completely justified, and it's such a heartbreaking situation. But I feel that if this is resonating for you, you are being encouraged to release the anger, because it's not serving you. It's not serving you at all. And I understand in that situation, not being able to see a loved one when they are in the last stages of their life, it can be really difficult. Maybe you weren't even allowed to attend a funeral for them, so you might feel that you didn't really get that closure or be able to grieve properly because of this situation. But the person, your loved one, they would not want you to be keeping this anger in you. It's not serving you. Keeping anger in our body, it's just not good for us. So I understand why you're upset and why you're angry. And as I said, it's completely justified, but it's not good for you at all. And if someone is watching this and resonating with this part of the reading specifically, I am so sorry for your loss, because I could not even imagine going through that. I really do feel for you. Okay, so that's all I'm receiving for pile number 3. I hope you are all doing well. And again, if this part of the reading is resonating with you, I'm so sorry. Okay, I hope you are all doing well, and hopefully I will see you next video. Bye everyone. Okay, pile number 4. So I'm receiving a few different messages for you for this spread, and so just take what resonates and leave the rest. So the first thing that I'm receiving for you to release this full moon is actually the feeling of loneliness. So the feeling of loneliness, there's one thing that I've done in my life to help release that feeling. And that's no matter where you are, you could be completely alone physically, you are never truly alone. So your spiritual team is always with you. They love you, they're listening to you, and they love you unconditionally. So for me, I used to feel lonely all the time because I just felt so different. I felt that no one understood me. And when I just came to realize that, hey, you know, my spiritual team's here and they love me, and and no matter what, they're always with me, that really helped me release that feeling of loneliness. Because the thing is, and I say feeling of loneliness, not actual just loneliness, missing a person sort of thing, the feeling of loneliness, because you could be in a crowd of people and feel lonely. So it's all about connection. It's more about that connection, right? So just realizing that you're never alone and that you're supported and loved can really help. Another thing that I'm receiving is actually just trying to connect with others. So loneliness can stem from maybe not having people to talk to that understand us. And so one thing that I'm receiving for you is it's a little difficult right now with COVID, and maybe you're in lockdown or there's isolation. You're not seeing a lot of people the way that you normally would. Maybe connecting with people online in different online groups and forums that have similar interests. So my spiritual team, I was feeling a bit lonely. I needed someone to talk to aside from them. And so they sent me an intuitive nudge in the form of an Instagram post that was completely not what I follow on my one Instagram. I usually just follow home decor. And this popped up. It's a spiritually based Facebook group. And this Facebook group, it was saying on the post, "Are you looking for friends?" And I was like, yes, I am. So I took that nudge and I joined the group, and I've been able to communicate with others who have similar interests, and it's been wonderful for me. And another thing that you could do is maybe go to a place like meetup.com, and they have some virtual events, virtual coffee and conversation sessions that can be in a bunch of different areas of interest. So you can maybe meet some more people that have similar interests as you. And that's what I'm kind of feeling more about, that is looking for people who have similar interests, because when you can communicate with someone about something that you enjoy, or maybe even a certain way that you're feeling, then that can help you feel less lonely because you're feeling more understood, okay? Now, the last thing that I'm receiving for that message is reaching out to people that are already in your life and letting them know how you feel, telling them, hey, you know, I'm feeling really lonely right now, and asking them, do you want to talk on the phone, or would you mind doing video chat with me? And these people are in your life for a reason. They love you, your friends and your family. So don't be afraid to tell them that you're feeling lonely, because chances are they might be feeling lonely now too. And they could have a family of their own and be busy with children, but still feel lonely. So reach out to someone else who's in your life and let them know. It's important. Okay? Now, the next message I'm receiving for pile number 4 that you would benefit from releasing this full moon are expectations of genders, expectations from society of how you should look and of how you should act and how you should be. So this is obviously going to be different for everyone, and I don't want to leave anyone out, but I am seeing mostly imagery about women, and just from my own life and my own experience. So I'm seeing that we need to release the expectations of how a woman should look, especially. And I just know from my own experience with growing up reading magazines and, oh God, music videos were the worst. Watching TV and movies, that really shaped how I thought that I should look as a woman when I grew up to become an adult. So I thought that I needed to have a large chest and a small waist, and I thought that I was supposed to look perfect and polished and together and wear maybe a little bit more revealing clothing, or clothing to show off my body, and wear high heels, and that's like ridiculous stuff. But I was a kid, and that imagery I was bombarded with, and I know I'm not the only one. So what we're taught, how we're supposed to look, how we're supposed to dress, releasing that expectation. You could be on Instagram and following certain people, some influencers, and I can guarantee you that a lot of them, they alter their photos in some way, shape, or form. So whether it's through software like Photoshop, or whether they're finding the right angle or hiding things in certain ways. I do notice that some of them have certain angles to make their butts look bigger and, that sort of thing. And I'm not trying to be rude or anything like that, but these photos are not depicting real life. And even someone taking a photo of themselves maybe early in the morning before they've had food. So I have seen a few images of someone showing themselves. This is me posing for Instagram before I eat. This is me after I eat. And that is just a natural thing. I know when I wake up in the morning, I feel skinny and happy, but then as soon as I have even a couple sips of water, the belly just pops out, and that's just life, okay? So just really remembering that and releasing that need to look a certain way because of what society seems to deem desirable or even acceptable. Now, I'm also seeing this with men as well. So I'm not male, so I can't tell you exactly from personal experience of how men would feel about this, but I would assume probably the imagery of men having to have six packs and be tall and a bunch of other things. And especially if we move away from looks, moving into gender roles or how certain genders are supposed to act. And with men, we're taught that they're supposed to be strong and they're supposed to be the leaders. They're supposed to be, or they're not supposed to cry. So they're supposed to be very strong in their emotions. They're not supposed to cry. And I think that's just utterly ridiculous. So releasing that, releasing what women are supposed to be and how they're supposed to act. And I also feel that for some of us, releasing maybe the feeling of inferiority for being a woman. And even though we logically know, hey, I'm not inferior, we have been made to feel inferior and we have been kept down. And not just women, there's minorities as well. So releasing all of that, releasing societal expectations as a whole, just release it and be who you want to be who you are, act the way that you want to act, look the way you want to look. Love yourself for who you are, and don't hate yourself for who someone else tells you you should be, right? And I know that's easier said than done, because Lord knows I've been fighting this my whole life, but I'm starting to be so much better at it and love myself and be like, okay, I'm good. But every so often it might pop up like, oh, Jenna, your body doesn't look that way. You should be looking like that. And it's just like, nope, I'm not going to put myself through that anymore. And I don't think that we should have to. Okay? Sorry for that rant. That one I get really passionate about, and I tried to keep it subtle. Okay? So that's that one message. So the next message that I'm receiving is we need to release the fear of criticism and release the fear of rejection. So that could be in regards to what we were just speaking about, fear of being criticized for how we look, or how we act, how we truly are, because of all of these other images that we see in society. But there is an aspect of this that has to do with things that you enjoy in your life. So whether it's your passions, I'm seeing imagery of someone playing music or an artist, or even I'm seeing someone who is casting a spell. So to me, that's maybe more spiritual. Maybe they're into, or maybe they're a witch or are interested in becoming a witch and that sort of thing, or even just spirituality, crystals and oracle cards, something different than what is considered quote unquote the norm in society. So there could be a fear of criticism for if you were to tell people what you're interested in. I am feeling that there is a fear of criticism that needs to be released in regards to the art that we put out, whether it's visual art or it could be the music that you're doing. Okay, so perhaps people have criticized your music before. Maybe someone has criticized your art. I'm feeling someone's high school art teacher. So releasing the negative feedback that these people have given you. Because how many times, I wish I could think of an example, but how many times have we heard stories about celebrities where maybe their teachers or someone told them they wouldn't be good enough or amount to anything, and they became, who knows, movie stars. They could have become maybe politicians, or something in the public eye, and something very successful, right? A famous author, perhaps. So releasing those past comments and criticism, and it doesn't even have to be something specific like that, but I'm definitely feeling that for some of you, just releasing that part. And I know it can be difficult, but you need to release those words that you've experienced, and don't let it get to your heart. And I know it's so much easier said than done, but one person or a couple of people, Think about J.K. Rowling and how many people turned her down for Harry Potter, and look at how successful it is. There's the example. Thank you, angels and guides. So, people can be wrong, and people have different interests, different beliefs of of things. So just because someone says that maybe they said that your art, that you wouldn't amount as an artist, okay? Just because they say that does not mean that you won't. But if you keep thinking those thoughts and be like, oh, maybe they're right, or if you let that person's voice saying that just keep going around in your head, then that person's going to be right, because that will keep you stuck. You need to release that criticism so that you can move forward. Now, and again, if it wasn't someone specific who has said something, but you are afraid of maybe going on stage and playing music for people, if you're afraid to post your art online, or afraid to post a video that you've made, then you're letting other people win. And really, you're depriving people from seeing your art, from hearing your art and experiencing it. So try to talk through it. Like, this thought that I have about this, is it true? Am I a failure? Is this horrible? Well, no. No, it's not. It's not horrible, and it's not a failure. Especially if you feel good about it yourself. Don't let anyone else tell you any different. So again, easier said than done, but this full moon, release the fear of criticism, release the fear of rejection, release those thoughts and that negativity that maybe someone from your past, or some people, I'm seeing 3, may have said to you. Release that. And if you're having difficulty with it, ask your angels and your guides and say, hey, can you please help me to release this? I like to talk through situations and say, okay, this person hurt me. They said this, and I felt this way. Why would they say this to me? And it's never about you. It's never about you. It could be that someone told them something similar in their life, and that's their belief system, and they're just projecting that onto you. And more often than not, that's it. And usually in a scenario like that, I try to give forgiveness, and if you do that, you might need to do that a few times. But giving them forgiveness and forgiving yourself for allowing them to hurt you, and just releasing that and giving that to God, or giving that to the universe or your spiritual team, and letting it go. But I do feel that releasing it this full moon will help you. I can't tell you how many times I've done a full moon release where I said, I released this, and then listed it, and then I would crawl into bed afterwards, and I would just start feeling dense energy in my body, and it's just like, wow, this is releasing all of that crap, all of that stuff that I've been wanting to release for so many years, and I wish I did it years ago. I honestly do. Okay, so in general, releasing the expectations of others. Again, so I really hope that this helped, and even if none of this in pile 4 fits for you, I do encourage you to do a full moon release on anything else that comes up for you. Okay, I hope everyone enjoyed this video and has a great week, and I will see you next video. Bye.